The old wooden lake house stood like a gaunt, forgotten sentinel on the shore of Manchar Lake, its timber gray with age, groaned in a tired rhythm with the wind that swept through the tall, dry reeds along the waterline. Asim, a man of unwavering logic, killed the car's engine and let out a sigh of pure satisfaction. "See, Zara? It's perfect. Exactly the escape we needed." Zara, however, wasn't so easily convinced. A cold knot of unease had been tightening in her stomach since they'd turned onto the long, winding dirt road. The silence here wasn't peaceful. It felt like a held breath. The wind sighing sounded less like a natural element, and more like a voice heavy with sorrow. "It's remote," she said, her voice small against the growing dusk. Asim simply laughed, pulling a duffel bag from the trunk. "That's the point. No neighbors, no distractions, just us in the great outdoors." Their first night was a test of nerves. The old house seemed to have a life of its own, its floorboards creaking under an unseen weight and the wind, whistling through gaps in the windows with a chilling, high-pitched whine. Zara lay awake for hours, her eyes wide as she listened. But Asim, ever the pragmatist, was undisturbed. He merely mumbled about the house settling, his voice full of a confidence she wished she could share. The wind's low, mournful sigh from outside was a constant, unsettling presence that drowned out the sound of her own heartbeat. The next morning, determined to break the spell of fear, they took an old, splintered rowboat out onto the lake. The water was unnaturally still and quiet, a vast murky mirror reflecting the overcast sky. Zara trailed her hand in the water, a strange chill radiating up her arm. As they drifted near a small, overgrown island of tangled reeds and gnarled trees, she heard it again, a faint, ghostly weeping carried on the air. Asim, his expression tightening, tried to dismiss it, but his words caught in his throat. As his oar snagged on something, unseen beneath the surface, he struggled, his knuckles turning white as he strained against the mysterious force. When the oar finally came free with a sickening squelch, he didn't speak a word, his usual bravado utterly shattered. The fear, once a whisper, was now a roar. That night, the footsteps in the hallway upstairs were no longer a faint creak. They were a distinct, heavy tread, like someone pacing with unbearable grief. And then, from behind the locked bedroom door, a low, continuous sobbing began, a sound so raw with sorrow, it seemed to vibrate through their very souls. As the terror reached its peak, the sobbing abruptly ceased. The profound silence that followed was even more terrifying, and from right outside the window, a chillingly clear whisper snaked its way in, calling out the names of lost children. Panic, cold and sharp, seized them. The whispering from outside was an invisible hand on Zara's shoulder, and they scrambled to their feet, rushing to the front door. Asim frantically twisted the knob, his knuckles white with strain, but the heavy oak door was sealed shut. "It won't open," he yelled, his voice raw with fear. Zara hammered on the wood, her pleas swallowed by the sound of the wind, now a hungry shriek. They ran to the windows, but they were no different, sealed tight with rust and old paint, trapping them inside this decaying prison. The whispering outside grew louder, circling the house like a predator. Then a new sound began, a soft, deliberate scratching on the walls, like tiny fingers dragging across the wood. The temperature in the room plummeted to an Arctic cold, and a thick, icy mist began to seep in from under the door, swirling across the worn floorboards. Their last bastion of hope. The single lamp flickered violently, its warm glow fighting a losing battle against the encroaching cold and darkness. With a final desperate sputter, it died, plunging them into absolute blackness. Zara screamed as she felt a cold, spectral touch on her hand, a deep, unnatural chill that went beyond her skin and into her soul. Asim, fumbling in the darkness, managed to turn on his phone's flashlight. The beam cut a path through the dense mist, illuminating a faint, translucent figure standing at the far end of the room. It was a woman, her face a mask of immeasurable sorrow, her eyes hollow voids of grief. She didn't move, but her hand, a pale, shimmering thing, was outstretched towards them. A heart-wrenching wail, a sound that seemed to rise from the depths of the lake itself, filled the room. It was the last sound they ever heard. The next morning, the lake house stood silent. The rising sun cast a soft golden light across the water, making the scene appear deceptively peaceful. The front door of the house was now slightly ajar. Adrift near the overgrown island was their small wooden boat, gently rocking on the calm surface of the lake. Inside the house, everything was as they had left it, save for one chilling detail. On the dusty living room floor, a single damp handprint was all that remained. The couple was never seen again, becoming another tragic tale whispered by the locals, forever adding to the grim history of the haunted lake.